your insecurities. Your insecurities, or you're dealing with those, battling those insecurities. Um, and it's hard, but I really had to get back to a place where I like humbled myself and really like submitted to the Lord again, and really just kind of went through a journey of like getting sober, and I know I couldn't have done that without the help of the Holy Spirit. He just helped me tremendously in that journey of getting sober and just getting my life back on track. And just those nights where I was crying and just praying to the Lord and just asking for help and asking for forgiveness and asking for direction and all the things, when I really felt like I had nobody, and he was always there for me, and he's never left me. And that's been a blessing in itself. And really, like, people don't always realize, but God, he still performs miracles to this day. And he's performed many miracles in my life, and I'm just grateful and thankful for everything he's done for me.
Absolutely. And then for someone else that's, maybe not in your shoes, but struggling also, like what would be your advice to them to be like, it's going to be all right. God's got you.
Yeah. To those people, man, I would just tell them that you're not alone. And I know that's like, sounds cliche and you hear it all the time, but it's like, you got people, you're either gonna do it or you don't. And I think, like, when people do it, and when I say do it, like as in like reach out to people, ask for help, and that's like doing it. It might sound small, but it's really such a big thing. And and it's like, I want to like put the importance on, like, and just let people know that, like, man, just that small step, just calling somebody and being vulnerable and saying, I need help, or I'm not okay. Like, that's so powerful. Just like being vulnerable and just being brave and being able to ask for help. And um that alone can save your life. It can save someone else's life. It's like half the time when you reach out and you let somebody know that you're not okay, they're gonna be like, man, I'm so glad you reached out. I'm not okay either. Like,
Right.
now let's talk, let's dialogue. And that's how those conversations start. But somebody has to step up, and someone has to be brave. Um, and I truly believe that everybody is capable of being that person and being brave. And I think everybody has the capability of being more than they think they are. And they're worth so much more than you think you are. And you really just need people in your corner who are going to help you realize that you are more than you think you are. And I was blessed enough to have people like that in my corner. Um, and I just want people to know that they're not alone. There's so many people who are going through what they're going through, and just once you start talking about it, you realize, oh man, I'm not the only person who's going through this. I'm not alone. And there are other people out here who have the same journey and the same story. And it's just like, there's community out there. You just really have to go find it.
No, I think that's well said. And then um, faith is big, but also what do you think else would help someone that's struggling, whether that be working out or reaching out to your friend? Like what works for you when, times weren't going so good other than faith? Like what were other things you leaned on that helped you, get out of dark times?
Yeah. Staying active and staying moving. I think there's a big like workout culture out there, and people just going and pumping iron and doing all this. But I've tried to transition like that, like the workout phrase. It's like, working out can be a lot of different things. And so I tell people that you need to find a workout routine, but that workout routine doesn't have to look like everybody else's workout routine. So that workout routine could be, maybe for me, it's in the morning, I just go walk, you know, a mile, just get out of the house, stretch the legs, whatever it is, get in the sun. Um, even like these last few days, I feel like I have been in my head a lot the last few days. And so I know that that means I haven't gotten outside enough. And so for me, I can realize that it's like, okay, I'm in my head too much. I need to just go get outside and just go walk. Just like, don't have a length in mind or a time or an agenda. Just go get outside and just go walk. And however, if that might be 10 minutes to one day, it might be 25 minutes another day, but I need to get out of my head and get out of this house, this square box and go move. And that's like the growth in me is like realizing that and like, hey, you know, sometimes like those 3 days can turn into weeks where people don't get outside and just being able to realize that um, is, for me, I'm like proud of myself for having that growth and understanding like those the triggers or the symptoms of anxiety that are happening, and you can realize that in real time and then go do something about it. But that's big. It's just move and stay active and get out of your own way and just get out of your house and having accountability partners. And it's like I have a couple accountability partners that I don't really call them accountability partners, but they're people I can just call up at any time and just I know they're going to talk to me. Um, you know, that's important. Trying to establish those relationships and really like doing that work early because it's like a lot of that work needs to be done when you are in a good mood so that when you're not doing well, you have those people. It's like, and I've had times in my past, I went through a divorce, and I remember going through that divorce, we didn't have people that we trusted enough to reach out to and be like, hey, we're struggling in our marriage, we're not doing well, and we need people to come pray for us. We need people to come just love on us. And we didn't have people in our corner to do that because we didn't put the work in early. And so now like this time around, that's something that we've talked about is like, hey, when we move to Dallas, we need to make sure that we're being intentional and seeking out people that we're going to be able to build relationships with, people we're going to be able to grow with, people who are going to be able to be honest with us. And that's something that we have to be intentional about this time around to make sure we're doing things differently so that like when things do go wrong or bad or aren't great, like we have people that we've built a rapport with, we've built some connection with so that, when things do go bad or wrong or whatever, you're in a space where you're actually able and you trust someone enough to be able to open up to them. So it's doing that work early because things are always gonna go sideways. Doesn't mean that they're gonna like you're gonna fall off track, but something is gonna happen in your life, whether that's personal or relational or that's you're not gonna mesh with in your life or something. And so doing the work early is super important.
Yeah, I think you said something really interesting that I think a lot of people will hit home to. Do the work when you're at your best, because when you're at your worst is when you need the help. And if you don't do it when you're at your best, that's when you're going to be hurt. So I think that's pretty inspiring because a lot of people think I'm at the top of the world right now. Why would I do the work? Why would I find someone that can help me? When in reality, that's when you need to talk to someone, because when you're at your worst, you're not going to get the same reaction, right? So it's like I think that's a really interesting point that you just laid out.
Yeah. Yeah. And going to counseling as well, and like I've done it. I still do it. I continue to do it. Um, Finding counselors and people you can talk to, just an unbiased opinion and unbiased ear that you can talk to, and um, dig into your past, dig into your old patterns, try to figure out why you're doing the things that you're doing. Is going to be super important um, because I don't, if you can cut off a behavior, but you didn't figure out like what was causing that behavior, like eventually it's going to come back around in some other way. And so you got to figure out like the reasons behind why you're doing the things that you're doing. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's been super helpful for me and big for me in trying to change patterns and trying to change behaviors. Got to figure out why you're doing those things in the first place.
No, that's well said. And then I know you have a daughter. How much is she like an inspiration to you? I know she's probably looks to you like you're a superhero because you're her dad, but like I have a daughter too, and I have a son. I feel like that's us to them in reality. Like we look to them as our superheroes. They're the reason we push so hard and we try to get better. Is that the same for you, you'd say?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, You know, she's just the light of my world, and um, you know, she means so much to me. And it's like hard to put into words, as a father, how much your kid means to you. But um, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
Um, Literally, just like would not be here. And I had a time in my life where I was in Kansas City. I was living in Kansas City, and this was after my divorce. And I'm away from my wife. I'm away from my daughter, and I'm just trying to figure out like how to just survive. And I went through a really dark period where I had to check myself into a hospital because the thoughts of me wanting to end my life were so strong. I couldn't be alone. Um, and I was brave enough to ask for help at that time, but um, you know, she was what kept me going.
Yeah.
And just without her, I don't know if I'd be here. Um, just the thought of her and just like leaving her alone, it was just like there was like just felt like there was no way I could do that to her. Um, and so like in our relationship is obviously it's a lot better now that I'm like here in Seattle and with her and back in her life. And I get to see her every day and just things are different. But I mean, it's just like I said, it's just like really hard to put into words like how much she means to me. But she's definitely a big reason why I do what I do.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful, man. I think children change you so much for the better and make you better humans. And obviously, that's not our main purpose of being on Earth is to recreate. But I think if you're lucky enough to, and you are in a good position to, even if you're not in a good position to, I mean, having a kid will change you for the better. And I think it's a beautiful thing that we're able to do as humans.
Mhm. Yeah, man, kids they're a blessing for sure. And I wasn't the best father early in my fatherhood journey, but just the dad that I've become is somebody that I can be proud of and somebody that she can be proud of. And um definitely want to continue just being the best dad that I can be.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I realized I clicked record when we were halfway through. So I'm going to just ask two of those questions that I asked in the beginning, and then we'll
Okay.
wrap it up. Right? Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. So good afternoon, Trey. Appreciate you hopping on. This is Andy Boone with Dudes Against Mental Advocating Mental Health, and I really appreciate you hopping on. Trey was a Oakton High School alum with me. We watched each other's careers, and he was obviously much better than I was. He went to Tulsa and ended up playing in the NFL. So thanks for hopping on, Trey. If you could just kind of give everyone a little overview of who you are and how you went to the NFL and all that good stuff.
Yeah, man. Andy, thanks for having me, first and foremost. And, like I said, we go way back to our Oakton high school days. And I started there. I didn't have any offers coming out of high school. So for me, the path was let's figure out where I can find a place to play and go to school. And so I ended up walking on at the University of Tulsa. And, I redshirted my first year. I needed that year to kind of just get my body right and kind of grow up a little bit and figure out what this college game is all about, get adjusted to the speed of the game. And starting from the very bottom just like any walk on does, and just put my head down and I went to work for a year. And then came into that next spring and ended up, I was on the fourth string, worked my way up to first string, and ended up being named a starter as a redshirt freshman and got named starter over a senior. And so I was putting in the work. I put in my time, and I was making plays, and the coaches saw it and they put me in there. I got named a starter. I wasn't even on scholarship yet, and so after that year, we got a new head coach, and the first thing he did was put me on scholarship. But the rest was kind of history. After that, started for 3 more years, and then I went undrafted to the St. Louis Rams, but it was blessed and fortunate to make the 53-man roster 2 years in a row, and and those were definitely some just good years, fun years of just playing football. Playing football at the highest level, just getting to compete against Hall of Famers. Aaron Donald was on that team. Chris Long was on that defensive line. There was just a lot of big name guys that you're getting to go up against every single day, and um, getting to challenge yourself and push yourself. And that's, that's probably what I miss about the game the most, is just that opportunity, just getting better every single day and just like falling in love with the process and just working hard. And um, those are some good times.
And I know sports are like the microcosm of life because you see so many traits that translate into life, like perseverance, hard work, never giving up. Like what would you say your favorite thing about playing football that translated in your life that helped you get through some tough times in your life? What would you say is one of the main things football taught you and helped you out?
Yeah. I mean, that perseverance is big, and just like working hard under pressure. You're getting to enhance leadership skills, getting to learn how to work with people. The teamwork, the like sacrifice. Learning how to do that. But big, most important, I think, learning how to work hard under pressure was huge, and so I think that's something that can carry over. Like I think times at some of my hardest times, I've you thought back, I'm like, okay, I remember running sprints when it was 110 degrees outside on some turf out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So, you've done hard things before. So in the back of your mind, you always know you can do hard things again. Um, so I think that's big.
Yeah. And then in closing, what would you say to someone that maybe not be in your shoes, but is not doing great mentally, has had thoughts of things that, they might want to end their life or, they might want to hurt themselves or they're just not in a good place. What is your advice to them, that's kind of helped you out? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that need to hear some encouraging words. What would you say to them?
I would say that, God's not done with you yet. Your story's not over. Um, but also just, just the cliche, you're not alone, but just reach out to somebody. I think the more we reach out, the more you realize that, you have a unique story, but you're going to find, what you reach out to somebody, you're going to find out that they also have a unique story. And it might not be the same, but there's some similarities. And when you realize that, you're not the only person going through a hard time, and you realize you're not the only person who is struggling. Um, and I think that's important, because sometimes when you're not doing your best and you're isolating yourself, you can think that I'm the only person going through this. Um, it distorts your mind, and your mind gets distorted in that isolation time, in those isolation periods. And so it's important to find a community, find people that you can go to. Maybe it's getting outside or getting out of your house, and just getting in the sun, just doing those small things, taking small steps that are eventually going to lead to bigger steps. But just being brave, being vulnerable. Um, those are things that are going to help you get out of that funk. But really, it's just like, if you're really going through it and you're really struggling, like, you can always walk into a hospital and just tell somebody that you need help. There are places to go to if you feel like you don't know where to go. You know, that's a good first step. Is just, hey, just show up at a hospital, tell somebody you need help. If you don't feel like you have somebody you can call, there's always places you can go, and just, man, stay strong. And because I've been there and I know it's tough when that dark cloud's over your head, but God's not done with you yet.
I think you said it wonderfully, man. God's not done, and appreciate you being the first podcast on the network, and you're a blessing to a lot of us. Just seeing you continuing to grow and strive and be a man of faith. I know you've been through a lot, and you're a hard worker and a great father and a great person. So appreciate your time, Trey.
Andy, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me. Good luck the rest of the way.
God bless you, brother. Talk to you soon. All right.
Amen. Peace.